Morning, everyone. All right. I'm letting people into the webinar. Hello, everyone. Emilee, how are you today?
Good, Yuman. How are you?
Excellent. I want to talk about AI.
I'm very excited to talk about AI. Today's a big
Yes.
day. Talk about AI.
I'm still not sick of talking about AI. I know some people are. I'm not.
No, I'm not
Uh,
either.
yeah, it's good stuff. Hey, everyone, as you come in, we're going to about a minute, we'll get started. And a lot of great things to talk about, a lot of great things to show as well. Um, uh, So excited for that. All right. Let me just take a look at the time. Welcome to our A. If you're coming in, today is an AI webinar with ChurnZero. So welcome. And actually, let's go ahead and get started. All right. Good afternoon. Good morning. Good evening for those of you in Europe. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Tsang. I'm the co-founder and CEO at ChurnZero. And I want to welcome you to our AI webinar. And my co-host is Emilee Zoskey. Emilee, who's the director of product here. She's going to be joining me today. All right. So before we get started, just a couple of things. I want to remind you that we are recording this session. Then a link to the recording will be available generally about 24 hours after we're done. And you also get the slides as well. Now, throughout the presentation, we have our Q&A button open. So ask us any questions, and we will focus on them at the end of this webinar. We'll probably talk for about 35 minutes. One thing that's a little bit different about this webinar than the others is we generally separate customer webinars from, sort of what we call CS webinars. Customer webinars, very focused on, informative, lots of training. CS webinars are generally sort of higher level, sort of ecosystem learning. Here, we're really combining the two. So half of you in the audience are customers. The other half are not customers yet, hopefully. So we're going to be doing this slightly differently. All right. So once again, we are Yuman and Emilee. So for those of you who don't know ChurnZero, I just want to do a very quick overview. So we're a customer success platform. So this is really for folks who really are trying to deliver the best customer experience for for your customers, right? And we know that's a hard thing, right? There's a lot that goes into delivering a great customer experience. That is centralizing data. It is creating new data, new analytics. It's serving your customers, and then it's communicating with your customers based on that information. It's creating automations for your customers, based on that data. And all of that is to do a few things, right? One is to make sure that your customers onboard well, make sure they're adopting your product and service, making sure you're retaining them. And then if they're super happy and engaged and adopted, and we've done those things well, then you expand them as well. So, that's really what we try to do as a company. And then, of course, the last few years, all of these activities are really being enhanced by AI. So today we're going to be talking about AI. But first, let's do a quick poll. Um, we want to ask those of you, so a poll just popped up in front of you, so please go ahead and answer that. And the question is, how often are you using AI in your customer success processes today? Are you using it daily? Are you using weekly, occasionally, or not yet? So we just want to get a sense of the folks, here and how you are doing it, what's going on. Are you taking advantage of it? So I'll keep the poll out open for a few more seconds, and then we'll show the results.
It's a close
All
race.
right. All right, let's go ahead and end the poll. And we are sharing the results. Can you see? Okay, Emilee, can you see the results? I just want to make sure.
I can, yes.
You know what? It's actually fairly evenly
It
distributed.
is.
Yeah. So almost, like 16% of you are not doing it yet. So welcome to AI. We'll talk about, how you can really weave it into your day to day, but daily, weekly. Look, I think it's got, by the end of this year, I think some sort of daily routine, I think is probably should be everyone's goal. And so we'll get there, right? So 29% of you are already there. That means 71% of you will get there soon. All right. Hey, maybe just a quick thing before I hand it over to Emilee, who's going to go through some of the how we deliver AI. But there's really two ways we think about AI here at ChurnZero. Um, and really, one is to augment and one is to automate. Augmenting means like, hey, you're really doing the work, right? You're the CSM, you're the account manager, you're the customer support person, you're the implementation person. And we're just going to make your life easier, right? So just being there at the right time, doing the work that you probably would normally do and making it easier. Right, that's everything from summarization to follow-up, content creation, analysis. These are things that you're doing, and we want to make it better, make it easier, faster, right? That's augmenting. And I think in the beginning of AI, this is where you generally start, right? This is sort of the technology that we bring to you first. This is how you probably get comfortable with AI. Following that is really automation, right? Where, AI is actually part of something that happens in the background, right? And there's a bit of trust that has to happen there, right? You have to kind of trust the results, trust the process, trust that it works, a good amount of time, right? 90%, 100% of the time. And you basically help automate. And this is sort of generally the life cycle of AI, right? So let's go ahead. So I think these are the ways that we think about it. Okay, so my last slide is like, hey, why does it matter? Um, Look, boardrooms, C-suites, they're going to expect from you a 30 to 50% improvement in productivity in the next 18 to 36 months. Everyone's talking about it, everyone's demanding it. For you, think about it this way, for those of you who have a book of business, if you just say, just to make the math easy, let's say you have a 2 million book of business now, you're going to be asked to handle a 3 million book of business within 36 months, right? And how do you do that? And you do that because you're going to have more digital-led customer programs, and how you can also do that using, make sure you have productivity gains. So let's dig into a couple of features. So we want to showcase a few things that we're doing today, and I'll hand it over to Emilee. Emilee, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thanks, Yuman. Awesome. All right. So before I dive in, I'm going to talk about these four things on the screen today. We're going to talk about meeting AI in ChurnZero, something we call Snapshot AI, engagement AI, and then we're going to talk a little bit at the end about virtual avatars when I'll pass it back to Yuman for that one. But I'm going to start by sharing my screen here, Yuman, if you don't mind. I'm going to grab this, confirm everybody sees ChurnZero.
Yeah, we do.
Awesome. Let me just rearrange my screen here. So I'm going to take us on this journey of these three features that I'm going to talk about today through three different use cases. So one being tactical. So if we've got any CSMs on the call, just CS teams in general, that tactical daily use case. The second one I'm going to go through is more of an escalation use case. So we've all got customers where there's an escalation scenario happening and what we offer around that in terms of AI. And then sort of the strategic scenario, which will get us into engagement AI. So starting here with the tactical scenario, for those that aren't familiar with ChurnZero, this is our command center. So this is the one-stop shop for everything that you need for a day-to-day in the life of a CS team member. This is going to have under the My To-Do section we're in here, we've got our calendar, we've got tasks that we need to get done, we've got emails we have queued up ready to go out. So it's sort of the tactical operations center for a daily CSM, right? So today I'm going to talk about meeting AI as it relates to this. So for meetings, we've got everything over here on our calendar. I'm going to build the story here for you guys. So if I click in on a meeting I've got in the future, what you're going to see is everything you'd expect: the date, time, when the meeting is going to happen, who's going to happen with. And we've got this note at the bottom letting you know that once this meeting is over, AI-driven summaries coming from your call integration are going to be added to this meeting under the note section automatically. So what that means, Yuman, for a CSM on a daily workflow, they actually don't have to touch this meeting. They can come in here, see who they have their meetings with, plan for their day, spend their time prepping, planning for actually having those conversations with the customer, building the relationship, talking about their goals that they've got, whatever the call is about, right? And then when the meeting is over, their call integration, like if they use a Gong, for an example, that's one of our partners here. So if you've got Gong integration, it'll take that summary Gong writes for us and put it directly on this meeting and then mark the meeting as complete automatically. So without the CSM having to do anything, the meeting's done. And the record of what was talked about is on there. So think about saving time. You talked about augmentation of their workflows. This is huge time saver. People spend so much time writing notes, summarizing the notes, getting it in a place where everybody can see it. ChurnZero brings all that together, shows it on the command center here.
I find this, when I talk to CSMs and, also CS leaders, it is the meetings and everything around the meeting that people spend a lot of time on and where
Yeah.
balls get dropped a lot, right? It's like, oh my, end of the day, you just have 6 meetings. Writing the notes, you're done, right? And
Right.
so having this integration happen automatically, yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, and think about all the times I've written notes and then have 2 meetings back to back, 3 meetings back to back. You come back to the notes and
Yeah,
you're like, oh no, what did I
yeah,
write?
exactly.
So with something like Gong, where they're already doing that so well, and then the integration being automatic, it keeps everything being less spread out, right? You don't have to go to
Right.
Gong to get that summary.
Yeah.
It's coming in here.
And we
So,
do that with cores as well, right, Emily, at
course,
this
yes,
point?
as well.
And then, yeah, okay.
Yep, and more to come on that too.
Yep.
Those are the first two for now, but there'll be more planning in 2025. All right, so then the next step of meeting AI, just to jump into the further pieces workflow, is so cool. It's going to be the follow-up email. So I'm going to scroll up and find one that's already happened to paint this picture. So let's click on this one here. So this is an example of a meeting where there was an AI summary written. It was automatically added to notes. As soon as ChurnZero sees that meeting is completed and it has the note content ready to go, it's actually going to use AI, build a follow-up email, and get that queued up for the CSM or whomever the call was with to send it out to the customer. So that finishes the workflow. Again, no hands needed. If it comes in, queues up the email, they can tweak it however they need and hit send, because a ton of the time is also being spent in the follow-up. You talk to 3 customers in the day, you need to follow up with those 3 customers to
Mhm.
remind them of the goals set during the meeting, the next time you're meeting, the action items, whatever it may be. All of those are automatically queued up in that AI driven email. So really powerful stuff for like the tactical day-to-day saving time operations there.
Yeah, it's interesting. I will ask one question, or from the audience about trusting the notes and trusting the summaries, and then of course trusting the follow-up emails. Like, how do you trust that the AI is actually doing a good job? And any thoughts on that, Emily?
Yeah, I mean, the great thing about ChurnZero is it's all in here and all editable, right? So if you look
Yeah.
at it, if Gong's summary is something that you want to tweak and add information to, you can do that within ChurnZero. You can edit those summarizations that come in, you can add to them. We're not going
Mhm.
to stop anybody from adding notes in advance. I'm one that likes an agenda, write it down, everything will get included. So the trust there is a little bit learned, I think. I've seen the summaries that come out of the calls our team uses, and they're really great. So I
They're
think
really great.
yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. I do find summaries to be just really great. In fact, probably, there may be things you can quibble with, but it probably does things that you forgot about, right? And so, but once again, they're editable. I think follow-ups, like I use follow-up as a good, like amazing first draft, right? And so that I encourage folks to do that. And what will happen is that, there'll be things that you trust and then you'll let go, and it'll take time, right? And by the way, this is no different from say email automation, where when email automation first came out, it's like, oh, like it's gonna send emails on my behalf, right? So you start with the easy things, the sort of the low jeopardy emails, and then you just keep going up and up. And so I do think trust is earned, and that's rightfully so. So, all right, back to you.
Yeah, that's great stuff. That is actually going to conclude the tactical piece of our demo here today in showing all the AI capabilities. So I'm going to jump over to a different tab that I have loaded up to show the next piece of this AI workflow in ChurnZero. But before I do, since there's some folks on the call that are not users of ChurnZero on a regular basis, I want to speak to what I'm showing, and then I'm actually going to tie back to the meeting stuff really quick and speak to something you just mentioned, Juman. So this is our customer profile page. It's a 360-degree view of everything about a customer, right? Every piece of data you need about this customer is going to be on this profile page in some capacity. It's the one-stop shop for that customer, their profile. So talking about meetings, on the right-hand side here, we have our timeline. Our timeline is the chronological view of everything upcoming or has happened with that customer. Those meetings that we just mentioned are, of course, going to show here as well. And so I see the future meetings listed. Oh, sorry, bopping over here. Future meetings listed here. I can click into it. I get that same view. So no matter where you are in ChurnZero, the AI optimization is following you around. So I just wanted to call that out to tie everything together. And then again, this wasn't really a part of my list of things, but I want to mention it because of something you just said. In terms of writing email and that really good first draft, we have an ever-present CSAI button at the top of our application. So for CSMs or anybody using the application that needs a little bit of a first draft for content, we've got prompts in here that are designed especially for CS teams so that they can have content generated for them quickly and easily, just like someone may use a AI service for their personal need. We've got it built in here ready to go for CS teams because we recognize that content writing, that's really where a lot of this shines, right? Getting that up in front of them quickly and
Yeah, that was the
easily.
very first thing we did, Emily, right?
Yeah,
Was this CSAI prompt library. You
exactly.
know, it turns out that you're asked to do a lot of writing, a lot of writing. And so in lots of situations. And so we put together as much of that as we know from working with you to make it easy for you to actually, create that content.
Exactly. Exactly. I just wanted to call that out because I think that's a huge piece of the daily workflow that isn't built in. It's ever present, right? So we want to make sure we cover that. So, all right, on to my second scenario. So we talked about this being the escalation scenario. So we've all been there. There's a customer that needs a little bit more handholding, that needs to have a conversation with somebody other than you. And you've got someone you're bringing into the call who isn't familiar with the account like you are. If you're on the CS team, you're the CSM for the account, you know everything there is. And now you've got to get someone else up to speed quickly. That takes time. Writing, pulling all the data from all the places to say, here's what you need to know, Yumon, if you're the one getting pulled in, here's what you need to know about this account. So the feature is called Snapshot AI in ChurnZero and does exactly that. I know, Yumon, this happens to be your favorite feature, I think, in AI world.
It is.
It is super powerful. And what it does is exactly what I said. It takes everything about this account and it summarizes it in a way that provides a snapshot to whomever's viewing it about that customer. So it goes into who are they? What do they do as a business? What's the commercial relationship that you have with them? What is their health as a customer? How are they adopting your application? Who are the key players here? What relationship do we have with who at the organization? Um, Engagements. So, what is the last couple of weeks? Who's been talking to who about what? And it goes as far as to give feedback to if they've given you any survey responses or things like that. What are they saying? So, an all-encompassing view of everything about that customer in a consumable way. It's designed literally to be sent out of the application as well. So someone like yourself, you're busy, you're on the road, got things going on, you need it sent to you in a PDF, you can download it in a PDF, ship it along. It can be sent via a chat tool. If you guys use a Slack or a Teams, it can be sent through that. And all of this powered by AI. Every time you hit refresh on this, we go out, reassess the data, and give you the most recent AI summary of, or snapshot of all the information for the account.
This was I pushed this feature pretty hard, Emily. I don't know if you know.
Yes, I do. I
Uh,
do.
yes, and here's why. Here's why. So I'll tell you how, I'm very I talk to a lot of customers, right? And so, I can't keep up with all our hundreds and hundreds of customers. And so the way I do it is normally I use Slack. So we have an integration with Slack. So I say, hey, tell me about, let's just use this account, this fake account called Autism Aware. I use Slack and it gives me a health score. In this case, it's a very healthy customer. And usually that's enough. Like, okay, I just need to kind of get to know how they're doing. If that's not enough, then I come look at Snapshot. All right. And then I was like, okay, that's great. Let me actually read that. And this in of itself, right, takes away probably, I would say 4 out of 10 requests that I would have for the CSM, right? So if I didn't have Snapshot, if the 10 times I need to talk to customers, four of those times, like, hey, CSM, you know, Jill, can you tell me about Autism Aware? Of course, Jill, like, oh, the CEO's calling, dropping everything, spending 15 to 20 minutes trying to, come up with a version of this to brief me. Right. So those 4 out of 10 times I am now like using Snapshot, saving 15 to, 20 minutes of their time, saving relief, all, and then getting it very quickly. Right. So this is really an important, easy feature for everyone to adopt.
Exactly, exactly. And it to take it one step further, because I've seen a couple of questions come through in the chat, it can be customized. So we gather all the data you've got in ChurnZero and queue it up. But if there's certain sections that are less important to your teams, there's a lot that can be done here in terms of customizing it for the individual use cases. And yeah, sharing, Yuman, to your point, like if someone needs to send this out to you, we added that feature on, and that is hugely useful for teams once to getting it to the folks that aren't in ChurnZero every day. So yeah. All right. That is use case number 2. So let's dive into use case number 3. I'm going to switch over to another tab. I'm staying in the same profile page here. I'm so excited to talk about this one. This is our feature called Engagement AI. We're going to talk about it from more of a strategic lens and ways to identify risk and identify what's going on within an account in terms of how your relationship is with them. The name says a lot. Engagement AI, what are your engagements? What's that relationship score? So I'm going to build it up to you. There's kind of 4 pillars here you want to understand for what engagement AI is offering. So the first of which is sentiment. So what we're doing in ChurnZero is we're using AI to provide a sentiment on every single engagement that you have with your customer. So that includes emails, survey responses, tasks and activities, notes, meetings, all of those things where you're talking to the customer or about the customer, we're placing a sentiment on. So that's your positive, your negative, those types of things. In fact, I know we're sharing my screen here. I haven't dug in to talk about it in specifics yet, but the timeline over here, I filtered it down to messages, and you're seeing, without even clicking, every message in my timeline and the sentiment that it's been assigned. So a quick and easy way to digest in chronological order how the relationship is going with this customer. The second piece of this is topics. So again, AI-powered topic tracking. This is going to be allowing teams to see, it's extracting keywords, right? And telling you what's being talked about here. We're going to queue everybody up with some standard kind of business-related topics like renewals or support escalations, risk, things like that, product feedback. And then empower teams to create their own topics. What's specific for your industry or your business that you want to keep an eye on when there's trending conversations that include these things. The third pillar is the score. So we're taking all of that sentiment information, we're combining it together for an account, we're adding some logic to it, and we're giving you a relationship score. And that relationship score is the signal in current time of the health of the conversations between you and the customer. And then the fourth is that what you're looking at in front of you, this beautiful report that we've built. And I'll say beautiful because I am a big fan of it. I think it's super functional and really easy to consume. And so we've got this new tab on the profile page called Engagement AI that's taking everything I just talked about and aggregating it together and giving you charts and graphs and information that you can act on to see trends and who's talking about what and when, and we can dive into some of the details there. But that's the overview of Engagement AI, and it's going to be, I cannot wait to see customers start to use it. It's going to be so
That's interesting. So, okay, let me just ask a few questions, right?
yeah.
So on the right-hand side, every email, every engagement is scored, and it's looks like we have positive, negative, right? It makes sense.
Yep.
There's mixed, which is a little bit of both, right?
Yeah, that's going to mean that there's positive words and negative words in the email.
In
So
email. Okay.
yeah,
Right. Like, thank you, but that was terrible. You know what I mean?
right.
Like something like that, right? Yeah, that was a
Yeah,
horrible ticket, but I'm glad we solved it, right?
yeah,
Okay, that may be a mixed one. And then professional really is what most conversations are, right? There's just like, okay,
exactly.
yeah.
It's like neutral. It's what
It's
we expect. It's a professional conversation.
right,
You're not shouting from the rooftop with excitement, and there's no
right.
negative to it. Yeah,
And I would
exactly.
say most conversations are very pleasant and professional. Okay, so those are the 4, and then you can then see, let's just say on, if you go back to the left-hand side, we can see there was 26 emails sent in the last 6 months. So this is just dummy data, right?
Yeah,
And most of it was very positive, but some of it was also negative as well, right?
exactly.
Interesting. Okay. And then up on the score over time, there's relationship score and then our turn score, right? In both cases, the lower the number, the better. So green is very positive. So my question, is like, does the relationship score replace the turn score? Like
Great
why?
question.
Yeah. What do we think about that?
Great question. Good point. I forgot to mention was the relationship score lower is better, green is good. That's
Yep.
the same as churn score in that way. So it's a supplement to the churn score, right? The churn score is still the North Star. That's the measurement of churn that includes all the factors you're building and analyzing across every piece of data you've got in ChurnZero. The relationship score is now another piece of that. So
Hmm.
you can actually use the relationship score in your churn score.
Hmm.
And it's a good signal in advance if things are going south that you may not have recognized based on some of your churn score factors. So if the
Right.
communication is going in a negative direction and the churn score, they're still using your application, they're not, upset yet, you're still having the normal, it's kind of that early on signal that can
Right.
cause the trend in the churn scores. Yeah.
It's also fair that, some of our best customers really push us the most, right? Maybe even
Sure.
complain a lot. So I think it's fair that the relationship score isn't exactly indicative of whether or not they're going to churn or renew. But I think it is also fair, you always want a positive relationship over a negative relationship, right? So, I mean, I think both things are true. Look, this is what I like about this feature, right? There are certain things that will never get done, right? Grading every email and message for positive, neutral, negative, right, does not ever get done by humans, right? It's just there's too much work, too many emails, whatnot. This is where AI really does help. And even if you get like say an email, like the one thing I actually caution people around AI is let's say we get one email wrong, the AI gets the email wrong. Oh, that was a positive email. How can you call that professional? Over time, like, over hundreds of emails, it actually is a really good indicator. And so in terms of a vibe check, this is, by the way, I ask CSMs all the time for a vibe check. After looking at the health score, after reading the Snapshot AI, my next question is like, I want to talk about the vibe, right? This is the way I say it. In fact, I think this was supposed to be vibe score
I
for
was
a while,
gonna say
Emily.
we almost
Okay, yeah, you
we
almost called it vibe score because I probably use that word so much. So, so like 1 out of 10 times I ask about the vibe, and this report satisfies that. Uh, you know. Now, actually, if you scroll down, we do something really interesting here too. So why don't we show that?
Yeah, yeah. So this report's full of all sorts of great charts and graphs giving you trends on what topics are being mentioned and what sentiment, and like you called out, sentiment based on the type of engagement that's happening. My favorite part of this report is the relationship map. So this is breaking down the engagements by contact and user. So on the side here, we see contacts at this account, and across the top, we see users at the organization that's using ChurnZero, and you can quickly, easily scan who's talking to who and in what tone. What is their sentiment of their conversation? Quickly pulling out point of contacts, maybe people that are engaging with your organization that you didn't know about. And then how happy are they with those conversations? So, a really powerful way to see who's happy
Mhm.
and how frequently they're talking to somebody.
And by the way, if maybe it's our data, but I do know that on the left side, right, these are your the contacts at your customers. If
Yeah.
we have their title, we also can see their title as well,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. All
Mhm.
right. So let me tell you a story, right? And maybe I'll use this particular. This actually happened at ChurnZero. So we've had access, of course, to engagement AI for about a month now for internal beta testing. Um, and at one of our customers, one of our sort of main points of contact was laid off. Unfortunately, was laid off. And all of you in the CSM world know that, when an important POC gets laid off, like you're freaking out, right? Because it's important to, you just don't want to lose that person. It's so important these days. Um, and so what happened was we, of course, looked into engagement AI. So let's just say Autism Aware was that customer and we lost Crystal, right? Crystal was laid off. So there's Crystal up there, you know, like
Yeah.
the most important thing for us to know is like, hey, let's say Veronica had a high title, a director. We can say, okay, great. We have a good relationship with Veronica. She is, very engaged. Maybe she had one tough conversation with Lorenzo, our director, but she's the person we should be targeting to be the replacement POC for this account, right? So there's, so there's the relationship mapping is super important because the facts are here right in front of you. The sentiment analysis is here in front of you for you to make the judgment of like who has the best relationship with who can we count out next, right? So who hates us, who loves us, right? These are all really important things to know. And who had, like it, because there's always two people who always squabble and there's two people who love each other. These are good things to know, and now you know.
And it was almost impossible to find this before. I mean, you could do it. It would just be so tricky to do based on subjective information like a CSM health score that they're doing manually. There's just this is again, like you said, this is something that technology can do and do very well for us. So I think
All
that's
right.
great.
Yeah,
So
that's fantastic. Yeah, do you want to show anything more before we talk about avatars?
I do want to mention a couple of other things about engagement AI since we got a lot of chatter about this. So I want to paint the bigger picture really quick for
Hmm.
those especially those users of ChurnZero. So we've got all this report that we talked about the micro data in the timeline. I want to talk about automation really briefly. So we talk about automation in AI. This is AI powered sentiment topics. If your team wants access to this data in an automated way, that works with ChurnZero just like everything else. So you can build alerts. If this example here, if this customer, their relationship score slips up to 40, you can set an alert for that so that you don't have to check this report every day. You can set up automation to be informed about things when they reach thresholds that are important to you. You can say if they've had a certain number of negative interactions, put them in this play. All the automation in ChurnZero is at your fingertips with this as well. This is now fully integrated into the application, just like everything else. And then for leaders on the call that may be interested in this at an even higher level aggregate, this is built into our dashboarding function as well. So you've got engagement AI over your entire book of business. You can break down relationship scores based on different customer segments or different additions that you may offer. All of this at a dashboarding level is going to be available as well. So again, lots of power across this for the CSM level use cases all the way up to needing to look at it across the whole book of business and identify risk at a higher level. So really powerful stuff, Iman, and we're very excited about this one today.
Yeah, and especially, a lot of you, like I said earlier, are going to be asked to manage more and more accounts, right?
Great.
That's the productivity ask. And so, having more automation to help you do things that, to give you more insight is really going to be helpful. All right, let me do sharing now. Emily,
Yeah.
if you can stop sharing and I'll take over. All right. So one thing to think about here, and hopefully I'll uh I'll show it where this can happen. All right. So I'm sure yeah, this is engagement AI as a screenshot. Where we're previewing one of the things we're trying in 2025, and and it's also through a relationship with a company called Synthesia. So let me actually kind of maybe just give you the demo first, and those of you who know Abby,
Hello from ChurnZero.
I'm going to
I'm the AI avatar of
hopefully
Abby
hold on a
Hammer,
second.
our Chief Product and Customer
Can you hear that?
Officer, and I'm here to introduce you to Engagement AI. As a ChurnZero user, you already know what your customers are doing, which features they're using, how well they're onboarding, who's a power user, who's disengaged. But understanding why is harder. For example, why did this customer churn when their usage data and results were strong? The clues are buried in your customer interactions, but it would take a superpower to read between the lines of every engagement to find them.
All right, I'm going to stop there because Emily walked you through engagement AI. So Abby is going to be announcing engagement AI. Actually, we announced it today, but we did it through an avatar. So this is actually digital. What you're seeing right now is not Abby Hammer, although it looks like Abby Hammer. It's a digital twin of Abby Hammer. And there was a script written for her to speak, right? And so you write a script and Abby can deliver it. We're going to be announcing a partnership with Synthesia to insert digital twins, for the customers of us and them, so that you can actually do the same things with ChurnZero. This is interesting, and I think we're really ahead of the game here. Like I'm not sure everyone's ready for this. I'm not sure I'm ready for this, but I think it's time to start thinking about it, right? So I think it's great, so I don't know what's going to happen. So I'll be super frank about that. The only thing I can tell you is that it's things that are worth trying. So the digital twin, maybe I'll advance it all the way, maybe 2 years from now, things that we could do. And maybe I'll say, hey, let's say you have to deliver a business review, right? We know business reviews are hard. We know they can be kind of tedious. We also know that some people don't really care for them, right? So imagine if ChurnZero, right? Because we have all this information, we know how your customers are doing. So we prepare, sort of the summary of how they're doing. Maybe put some charts and graphs in front of them. We develop a script based on all that information. That script gets delivered to a digital twin of the CSM that's servicing the customer, and then it gets delivered automatically, right? So QBR with information, with data, with the CSM as an avatar, automated automated from soup to nuts, right? The whole thing automated. Um, It'll be interesting to see, if this works, like if people take to it. There will be use cases that they will absolutely take to it. There may be use cases we have to maybe wait a few years. There may be some use cases where we think would work that will never work, right? But what's interesting is that, you know, the use of AI to create content and to deliver content is super interesting. So that's sort of the digital twins, the avatars. Emilee, what do you think? Does this freak you out, or is this pretty
Well, I
interesting
was
too?
going to make some joke about now Abby's going to follow me around because
Everybody's going to follow you. I'm going to actually put scripts and then send you directives.
messages from late at night from Abby via
That's
her
right.
calendar. This is super exciting. And for those on the call too, just to add to what Yuman was saying is that the initial partnership here with Synthesia for us means you're able to embed Synthesia video in content from ChurnZero. So it's going to mean that if you send emails through plays in ChurnZero, if you do in-app announcements, when you're using ChurnZero to build content, and you use Synthesia, those videos can be placed in that content and played just like the announcement that Yuman mentioned today from us. So super exciting starting point, and excited to see customers use it and where it goes. Yuman, yeah.
All right. Well, look, we gave you probably the top four, sort of most interesting AI things that we are doing have done. By the way, all of this is either already available in ChurnZero or available in days or weeks. Okay, so nothing is super vaporware. None of it is vaporware. Also, all of it, is fully integrated into ChurnZero. So I would say go ahead and reach out to if you are a customer, reach out to your CSM about engagement AI. If you are not a customer yet, just come to our website, ask for a demo. We're happy to show you if it's a good fit for you. All right, so lots of questions. When is engagement AI coming? It's coming this weekend, right,
Yep.
Emilee?
It's
Okay.
available this weekend. Reach
Okay.
out to your CSM at ChurnZero if you're interested in it. I know there were lots of questions
Yeah.
about showing other elements of it and things like that. That's all coming in the next week or so from us, from our messaging and from your team that supports you here. So definitely stay tuned. And yeah, we'll get that to you soon.
All right, someone's confused. What's the point of AR video avatars with the ChurnZero? You know, I don't really know yet. I mean, I kind of do know, like announcements and it's I think start with maybe lower jeopardy things, right? Like not the most important things, just to test. It's almost like I remember, Emilee, you and I fought the email marketing wars way back when. That's how we met, right?
Yep.
In the beginning, email was like, what do you mean automated? What? Sending it automatically? That's crazy. Email's a one-to-one, thing. Everything's got to be bespoke. We got used to that, right? Like now, a great email can be automated and customized and do all those great things, right? And we use it all day, every day. It's core to B2B processes. It's a good shot that avatars will be that way as well.
Oh yeah.
And by the way, I would say people will use it for trainings and things like that, like readily. I think people are ready for that. Whether it's, ready to like actually talk back, actually be live conversation, they'll take time, right? So we're all in this one together. Okay. All right. Uh, all right. Let me ask some other questions. Let's see. Oh, uh, Hey, Emily, how does ChurnZero handle customer information? You know, PII is a big thing. People are very sensitive about it. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I can say that all that information on every specific feature is in our documentation. But just to note, we pull out PII where at all possible for our customers. So it varies feature to feature depending on what we're doing. But we're always, we have all the security standards in place, and we are always, it's top of mind to make sure that we're protecting our customers' data. So
Yeah, there's a couple things I'll add to that. One is, we are, all the compliance things we do. So SOC 2, Type 2, we HIPAA, ISO 27001, customer information, we take it super seriously. Uh, any AI we use, right? The agreement that we have with the AI providers, right, that we use is that nothing is used for training, right? So, so nothing is used for training. And then, as Emilee said, wherever we can, right? Because most of these things we can actually use AI and not show any PII. We pull out PII before we send it there, just as another level of precaution. So we do a lot of things to make sure, that your PII doesn't fall into the wrong hands.
absolutely. Yep.
All right. Let's see. There's a lot of questions. Emily, is there one that you saw? Um,
I mean, we've engagement AI around the let me look. The add so engagement AI will be an add-on, just to say that because I think that we've been asked that a couple of times. And again, talk to your CSM here about that, and what opportunity you have based on your addition with ChurnZero, just to call that out because I think people have asked that several times. I think we've covered
oh,
that.
hey, there's another one. Somebody wants the a snapshot AI to be even more concise. Use bullets, be concise. I'm a huge fan of conciseness. Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah,
I agree with anonymous attendee who asks that. Thank you, anonymous attendee. Anytime one word can happen rather than two, I'm all for it. So
yeah, yeah.
we can ask, like, no one's getting paid by the word, Emily. So, we can ask AI to be more concise, right? Okay.
That it is editable, so that can help too if you need
No, stop it. You know what? Maybe in fact you just have, okay, we're doing real time product stuff here. Maybe you just like, hey, what do you want this particular snapshot to look like? Do you want it to be, like one pager, right? Prose,
Yeah,
maybe like, email, like with lots of bullets, right? Short, long, whatnot, right? Novel,
yeah, it's like prompting
yeah,
adjustments.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like tweet level. Okay, all right.
yeah, I like
We
that.
we yes, I'm going to now send a script to Abby's AI to tell you to do that. Okay,
That is
that's how it's going to work.
a good use of the avatar. Yeah.
Good news, avatar. All right. Let's see. Uh, what other questions do you see, Emily? There's so many questions. People like just love Abby.
Yeah,
Claus
we
said
got
they
a
like
lot of
Abby.
love for
Yeah,
Abby. So
yeah,
Abby, if
yeah.
you're out there listening to this recording, just know that you're very loved. And
Claus, we'll send you AI greetings from the
Abby's
digital twin of
avatar will,
Abby.
will be sent to you many times over. Yes, I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it.
Right. All
A
right.
lot of
Lots of
these
questions.
questions.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No. It just I have a lot of questions about when engagement AI is available. So
Yeah.
we talked about that. How about Zoom summaries and other summaries? How about those?
Yes, please keep those coming. So if you are a customer of ours and you use something that's not Gong or Chorus, let your CSM know. We're collecting those and we're going to continue clipping away at the call integrations based on popularity. Zoom is next on our list. It's something we've got on our 2025 roadmap. And I don't have a timeline for anything like that, Yuman, but we are keeping an eye on it because we know folks use things other than Gong and Chorus. So we
How
want,
about if the I know because there's a lot. I mean, there's like certainly some main ones, but then there's kind of a long tail of things that people use for call intelligence. If they put it into Salesforce as a custom table, can we use
it'll
it
come
that way?
in. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it wouldn't work exactly the same way as everything does that we demoed today, but we can explore opportunities there as well. There's lots that can be done with the data.
Yeah. So if let's say you use, something that maybe has less market share, but that you really like, yeah, if you can get
Bring
into
them in.
Salesforce, we have a shot of getting it out there. So that's always an option. All right, one more question. We have 45 minutes. Uh, let's see.
For those asking about stuff like this and which call integration, we do have a customer roadmap webinar on February 5th. Make sure you get that on your calendars. I believe Abby is hosting that. And so for those that love to see Abby's face, it will not be the AI avatar of Abby, it will be real Abby. And she will talk to you guys all about the roadmap for 2025, some of the short-term things and our longer-term vision. So for ChurnZero customers on the call, that'll be a great one to listen to hear everything that's coming around AI and not AI. Because today,
That's great.
like we said, we focused only on AI.
Yeah. Well, hey, thanks, Emilee. Look, I mean, I know for those of you who are customers, you have a lot of very product specific questions. Come to our webinar. We're here to talk to a mix of everybody to to talk about our AI. So hopefully it's exciting for those of you who attended. Thank you for taking the time. And Emilee, thank you. Are you real Emilee or have you been AI Emilee the whole time?
Who knows?
It's a mystery.
It's a
It's a
mystery. You'll never
mystery.
know. You'll
All
never know.
right.
I'm not in the office, so it could be either one.
It's true. All right. Thanks, everyone. We will
Thank
talk
you,
to
man.
everyone
Thanks,
soon.
everybody.
Okay. Okay. Bye-bye.